from Guarda wallet, and this is Humpty Calderon, head of community of Ontology. Hello, Humpty.
Hi, how are you? Glad to be
Well,
here.
yeah, I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. It's a nice sunny day where I'm at, so I'm pretty happy.
Okay, all right. So we are here just to learn some information about ontology. So can you tell us some words about that?
Sure. So Ontology has been around for over 3 years now, and their mission has been consistent and they've been developing towards that. And that is to bring trust, privacy, and security to Web3 through decentralized identity and data solutions. Ontology is composed of a variety of different products, starting with its layer one blockchain, also ONT, which is their DID protocol, OScore, which is their reputation mechanism, Onto Wallet, which is the identity wallet, and Wing Finance is their DeFi protocol, and Saga, which is the data marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, we have some clients who just ask us about ontology, about the origins of that name, because some people just think that it's something medical or something.
Yeah, Ontology is actually a fun name. I got to be honest, I don't know the genesis of what inspired the name, but I do know what the meaning of ontology is. And I looked it up actually prior to this call because I had discussed it only once before. And it is defined as the branch of metaphysics that deals with the nature of being, right? And
Mhm.
so to me, I find that to be incredibly appropriate for what ontology does because the state of being or the state of your identity is what ontology is focused on through its development of decentralized identity protocols and reputation mechanisms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Good. So, we usually ask our guests about the everyday use of their coins. So probably you have an answer on that because I think nowadays it's really important.
Yeah, so it's interesting you asked that question because as I stated before, ontology isn't just one thing. Ontology has a number of different products, but all really serving the same mission, and that is decentralized identity and data, right? And
Mhm.
so, Ontology has that layer one blockchain, and it's fast and efficient. It enables ONT holders to be able to participate in the governance of the blockchain. You stake your ONT, you earn ONG. So there's a mechanism there to engage the community as well.
Mhm.
Beyond that, there are products that serve more specifically in terms of decentralized identity, and that is ONT and OScore. And these are the two protocols that Ontology has developed to allow people to be empowered through their decentralized identity on chain, and then
Mhm.
leveraging that identity to be able to gain a reputation score that they can then leverage to, in the example of DeFi, under collateralized loans. So, really revolutionize the way that we currently see DeFi being used. Um, there is the Onto wallet, which is Ontology's identity wallet,
Mhm.
where it provides the user the simplest way to create your decentralized identity. And, obviously, being a team member of Ontology, that can seem incredibly biased, but it is one of my responsibilities to seek out how decentralized identity is being used in the real world today and some of the experimentation that's going on. And I have yet to find a simpler way to create your decentralized identity. You simply
Mhm.
download your wallet, and when you create, you download the app. When you create the wallet, your decentralized identity is created automatically with that. So I think it's incredibly valuable to create those accessible on ramps for people as they start exploring what this technology really is. Beyond that, Ontology has also created the Wing Finance protocol, and through that has enabled DeFi on Ontology, but has also enabled DeFi or that DeFi protocol on other blockchains as well. It's available on Ethereum and it's available on OKX chain. And there's
Mhm.
multiple ways for people to interact with that. There are your traditional flash pools where you lend assets or you borrow assets, you earn rewards, and you earn the Wing token, which is the governance token of that protocol. You also can leverage some of the other more unique pools, which are like inclusive pool, which is the way that you can actually utilize that decentralized identity and that reputation to then under collateralize loans. And lastly is Saga, which is currently in development. And that is going to be a way for you to manage your data and potentially even monetize your data.
Actually, you mentioned about DeFi, so probably that will be my next question. But could you please tell me what is the difference between ONT and ONG? Is it something like Ethereum works?
So on Ontology, there is a two token model, right? So ONT is simply the governance token. Is that token that you use to participate in its governance? You lock that up through some sort of staking mechanism, and then you earn rewards. The rewards are in the form of ONG. ONG itself is a gas token, if you will. So it allows for you to use that to pay for transactions.
Okay.
One and I guess another clear differentiator is ONT is not divisible, while ONG is. You can actually get a fraction of ONG, but ONT you get the full one amount of ONT. You can't break it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Good. So back to DeFi, we have different kind of questions from users, and one of these questions is about DeFi and CeFi, if I can say like this. So the question is, how long do you think it will take for decentralized finance to fully replace centralized finance? Do you see both financial investment tools coexisting together? And what role of ontology play in the global adoption of DeFi?
Okay, that's a great question. So hats off to that person. That was incredibly formulated. I think I'll start with the easiest and the low-hanging fruit there. And the question is, how is ontology working towards the global adoption of DeFi? And like I mentioned before, ontology has created a DeFi protocol or that works on ontology, that works on Ethereum, and that works on OKX chain. And the vision for that is for that to be a multi-chain product, and so to continue rolling it out on different blockchains so that people can take advantage of the unique elements of what is Wing Finance. So we'll start with that. But probably more importantly is those unique features of Wing Finance that Ontology has been developing that I think are creating a more accessible may be the wrong word, but definitely a more familiar way of utilizing finance the way that CeFi does it. And in the real world, you utilize your credit score, to be able to take out loans so that you're not necessarily over collateralizing those loans. And DeFi, it doesn't really work that way right now. In order for you to get a loan, you have to put up twice the amount of another asset, right? To support that, because in case you default, there needs to be some sort of mechanism, right? For you to be able to pay that back, if you will. So what Ontology is doing is through the creation of these identity protocols like OntID and OScore, it's basically taking that transaction history, that reputation of that individual, and bringing it to DeFi. So, as an example, if you use OntID and through that you're using OScore, you are then borrowing assets and not defaulting on these loans. You're basically a borrower in good standing. Your reputation goes up, right? Because you are participating responsibly on the protocol. There's other metrics too, but for me, that's probably the most important one to take a look at because it's what's really different from everything that's happening right now in DeFi. So through these reputation mechanisms and through DeFi, or excuse me, through Wing Finance and Inclusive Pool more specifically, Ontology is bringing new ways of interacting with DeFi in a way that's more familiar also to those that may be coming from CeFi as well. Lastly, there is another pool that is a part of Wing Finance, and that's any pool. And really, as the name states, it allows individuals to lend and borrow anything. So anything from NFTs to other assets that may not be listed. From what I hear, there's also some experimentation that was happening in tokenizing real world assets like property and then lending that and borrowing that on Wing Finance. So certainly taking the conversation of DeFi further by implementing features that are more familiar to CeFi. In terms of the first question, sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you mentioned like you were saying something about reputation, and then you just switch to centralization and so on. Like, what kind of reputation do you mean? Like reputation for user? Yeah, I really understand about the coin, but probably that can be something for user.
Yeah. So reputation in the way that Ontology has developed it, it's fully decentralized. So it comes from, it basically utilizes your decentralized identity, or in this case, ONT ID, right, which is Ontology's DID protocol, to basically aggregate your history on the blockchain. And in this case, in your activity on DeFi protocols. So if you are not a borrower in good standing, in other words, you're a degen, right? And you're just aping into things and you're not paying anything back because it doesn't matter. There is no punishment mechanism, if you will, for that activity. Then if you're doing that alongside with your DID and reputation systems, well, there is a punishment mechanism, and that is your reputation score is going to be affected by it. On the other hand, if you are, being responsible and you're utilizing these protocols the way that you would actually borrow money in the real world, where you're paying it back on time, right? Then your reputation score will go up. But again, all of this is decentralized, it's transparent, and it's managed by you.
Can I ask you a question about decentralization? Do you really believe in the whole, like, total decentralization?
So I guess this goes to the question that this person asked in the beginning in terms of what is my perspective, because I can only speak for myself on CeFi and DeFi moving forward. My opinion is that we're going to see both be a part of the way that we do finance. CeFi definitely has a place in the world, and I think DeFi solves a lot of problems, but so does CeFi, to be honest. But there are ways to do things in a way that's transparent and rewarding and equitable, and that's where DeFi comes in. So I do see DeFi continuing to grow, and I think that this is evident by the institutions that are themselves adopting DeFi. We saw that through DeFi Summer, and we continue to see that today through announcements that these corporations are making in terms of their entering the space. Either they're doing that through participation in a protocol, or they're doing that by holding certain assets that are DeFi assets.
Yeah, I see. Okay, good. I just want to remind everybody, so we have some online users probably. If you have any questions, so you can ask them. That's a good question about NFT. Actually, I wanted to speak about that. So probably I can show you the question right now. Can I? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, what is Ontology NFT vision? Yeah, and we have just one more about NFT, so I just need to read that. Do you think NFTs can be applied to decentralized data management? And if yes, is Ontology Network looking to explore that utility system?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll start with just the topic of NFTs because I think that it's something that has taken the crypto world by storm, right? Starting with last year and then this year and continuing through today. There's a lot of excitement at what are NFTs. And I think that the topic of NFT itself is a pretty complex one. It isn't a very simple one to try to just capture in a few words. But, in terms of Ontology's vision with NFTs, Ontology itself has minted and issued NFTs to its community going through last year. And even this year, for its third mainnet anniversary event, it rewarded its community in a commemorative NFT. Now, is there any utility to that NFT today beyond it being a collectible that people can hold and utilize as some sort of community building and saying, I am a part of the Ontology community and I'm excited that I got a piece of this history because I believe in what Ontology is doing? Then yes, that's the utility. What is its utility in the future? Unknown, I would say. But in terms of what Ontology's vision is for NFTs, I can say that there are discussions ongoing within the organization as to what can be done to integrate NFTs more completely into the Ontology ecosystem.
Mhm.
Um, Beyond that, like I mentioned just moments ago, through its DeFi protocol, Wing Finance, Ontology has created a system for creating more utility for those people that have NFTs.
Mhm.
Is you take those NFTs and you can lend them and you can borrow them. And this is actually a conversation that is growing every day. People are, as they're starting to add NFTs to their collection of digital assets, they're trying to see if there's a way to do something with them instead of just holding them in a wallet and doing nothing with them.
Mhm.
Value could be driven through the tokenomics of a project, but value, for the most part, comes from the community. What value do you see in your collection? And is there a community of people like you that sees value in that collectible? If you do, then there are marketplaces for it. The Wing Finance AnyPool is a marketplace for those communities to be able to derive some value from their holdings with a community of like-minded individuals.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of using NFTs for decentralized management, I data management, excuse me, I am familiar with other projects that are looking at utilizing NFTs in that way. But I will say that from my conversations with those individuals, it seems like it's a bridge to doing what Ontology does because they don't have a decentralized identity mechanism to
Mhm.
be able to manage your decentralized identity transparently and in a decentralized way. So I would say that would Ontology explore NFTs at data management? I think that everything is always on the table. I don't think anybody in good conscience would say, I'm going to close the door on that forever. But as
Uh-huh.
far as data management, Ontology's vision is to do so in a decentralized way using these open protocols like DID, which is OntID for Ontology, and OScore, and in the future, Saga.
Yeah, I see, but don't you really think that it's something like a hype right now? Because you probably know the most popular marketplace, OpenSea, right? And as far as I
Sure.
know, I have some statistics about that. That it multiplied like 20 times in a month, like previous month. Can you imagine?
Yeah, certainly the growth is exponential. I don't think anyone really was prepared for that, not even OpenSea.
Uh-huh.
I think that they had an idea. It's the reason why they chose that market and
Mhm.
built a platform that the community could use. But yeah, certainly there's been a lot of growth, and I think that's fantastic because the other thing is NFTs are a bridge for people who otherwise wouldn't have discovered crypto.
Mhm.
It captures the imagination of individuals that aren't necessarily interested in participating in the governance of an ecosystem. They're not interested in decentralizing their financial instruments the way that DeFi does. They're interested in art. They're interested in collections. They're interested in supporting creators.
Yeah.
And I think NFTs open not just the doors, but it opened the gates, right?
Yeah.
For this
So,
mass this mass introduction of individuals who are
mhm.
interested in that. But the beautiful thing is crypto is a rabbit hole. Once they have that NFT, they start joining communities, they start learning what DeFi is, they start learning what governance is, DAOs, and they start falling deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole. And it's the responsibility of all these other protocols like Wing Finance, like Ontology, like Guarda Wallet, to be able to provide a platform for them to continue that crypto journey and become crypto natives.
Yeah, I just completely agree with you actually about NFTs. I want to remind everybody that you can join our Twitter and Telegram. So here it is. And as for Ontology, so you can join Twitter and Discord. And so this is an AMA with Humpty Calderon. Yeah, and we just continue. There is another question from our user about Bitcoin correlation. Probably you can comment on that. Do you have a solution that the price of your coin doesn't depend on the price of Bitcoin? That's quite a funny question, I think, for you.
So part of that question has to do with price. And one of my rules is I never talk about price. But there's an interesting conversation there. So I'm going to explore it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, anyone who doesn't see the value of it in terms of it's the purpose that it serves in the crypto ecosystem is either not fully aware of what Bitcoin is and how long it's been around, or the work that it does for onboarding new users. Similar to NFT, there's a narrative with Bitcoin, I think, that is very important and will continue to be important to onboarding new users, and that is the gold standard, right? The fact that it holds the value, right, long term, and so it really speaks to a certain group of people that want to see crypto serve them in the way that traditional systems do, and in this case, the traditional system would be gold. There are tons of other development and tokens that are looking to do or capturing the imagination and niche use cases that aren't what Bitcoin does. What Ethereum is doing, what Ontology is doing, all of these different ecosystems serve different roles. And I think Bitcoin will continue to serve a role and a purpose into the future of crypto. Now, in terms of what Ontology is doing to differentiate itself from Bitcoin, that's what I've been talking about from the very beginning, and what for me personally attracted me to the project 2.5 years ago. Before I was head of community, I was a community member, and I was active in their channels through the governance and through development on their network as well. And to me, that is the fact that they've been consistently driving towards that mission of facilitating trust through decentralized identity and data. So that's a clear differentiator. That is clearly differentiated between Bitcoin and Ontology, and even between other popular blockchains like Ethereum and Ontology as well.
Okay, good. Then we can come back to another question. That's about electric vehicle. I don't know why, but still, I think that's quite interesting. The question from Turkey. Have you had a meeting or exchange project for the fully electric smart vehicle produced in Turkey? And do you have a move on that issue? So do you know anything about that?
So I'll start with Mehmet from Turkey. I hope this is who I think it is, because he's been a longtime community member on many, many channels that I've been a part of, and communities and protocols. So if you are, shout out to you, and thank you for asking such an excellent question, because this question actually shows the innovation and the way that Ontology explores how this technology could bridge not just us as crypto natives or financial systems, but institutions worldwide. And really, to answer this question simply, Ontology partnered with Daimler Mobility. So Daimler is more commonly known for Mercedes-Benz, but Daimler Mobility and Ontology partnered up to explore ways to utilize decentralized identity mechanisms within the automotive industry. And some of the key things that were discovered through that was that you could take your profile, through your decentralized identity, right? You could have this record of preferences, if you will, and you can take that to any car that you use. Let's assume that you're a business person, travels around the world, and is utilizing different cars because that's just what you do to be able to travel and go to where you need to go. What you could potentially do with decentralized identity is, instead of every time, and it might seem trivial, but if you really think about it, to be able to do something this way and do it in a privacy preserving and decentralized way, to me is really powerful. Is, imagine sitting in a car halfway around the world. So I'm in California. I go, let's say I'm going to go to Singapore, or I'm going to go to France, and no matter where I go, I just log in with my ONT ID, and that card knows all of my preferences, knows all of the type of music that I like, knows all my seating preferences, knows all my mirror preferences, all of that, right, is done in a way that is automated, but it's also done in a way that is privacy preserving. I don't have to share any more information about myself than what those preferences are that have been selected through my decentralized identity. Another thing is, you imagine using insurance services on various cars to be able to have that information stored in a way that's decentralized, but also in a way that protects your privacy. You could potentially utilize your insurance information across a fleet of vehicles without necessarily having to call your insurance company and say, I'm going to be in this country, I'm going to be using this car. Your insurance company knows where you are, knows what car you're using because you've logged in with your ONT ID. So these were some of the things that Ontology was exploring with Daimler Mobility, which, like I said, is completely innovative because it doesn't necessarily speak to the same language of what is crypto, what is decentralization, in the sense that we crypto natives are familiar with. But it's certainly interesting for those institutions that are exploring how they can utilize decentralization or decentralized technologies, excuse me, in their products as well.
Yeah, I'm just quite impressed by that. Can I ask you, is it a unique feature of Ontology, or probably you have competitors?
Is that MVP unique to Ontology?
I mean, this very feature, when, for example, you travel like around the world and you have all of the identity in the blockchain, and probably you can use that.
So I will say, as far as I know, there has been no one else that's been engaged to do work like that. So I would say that that is unique to Ontology, and it shows the value of Ontology, in my opinion, because a company with the legacy, right, as Daimler Mobility, to work with Ontology to find that solution, to me, is mind blowing. And nowadays, as autonomous vehicles are becoming more and more popular, I can't wait to think of an opportunity to add more value to my decentralized identity and data, and to be able to manage that information myself, and to be able to select how that information gets used, versus the traditional models where you sign up, say you sign in with your Google account, right? Or you sign in with your Facebook account. Guess who's collecting all of that data? These centralized institutions that then just take your information and monetize it. And you don't have a say in how that gets used. Well, first of all, you don't have a say whether it gets used. Then you don't have a say how it gets used. And you don't get a share of any of the money that gets made with that. So what Ontology is building these mechanisms, both to be able to empower people, but also to give them a say, and potentially even to monetize that information in the future themselves.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I really like this feature. Look, I'm from Guarda wallet, right? And we have quite a lot of coins for staking, and Ontology is one of these coins. And it provides something like from 30 to 40% APY to users. So how can it be? Can you comment on that? Probably, I don't know, what's the secret of that?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to Ontology's vision of, empowering people, but at the same time, securing the blockchain. So the ONG that's provided for the rewards are basically done through an emission system that Ontology provides to those node operators. So Ontology, or should I say, when an ONT delegator chooses to stake their ONT, Ontology then rewards that ONG to the node operator. There's many node operators in the Ontology community that then provide that reward, up to 100%, so that the community can earn those rewards. There's also for the longest time, there's been a foundation bonus. So Ontology has provided that as another incentive mechanism for individuals to take their ONT, and lock it up on the network to protect and secure the network. So these mechanisms are, I don't want to say necessarily unique, but certainly important to Ontology. I asked one of the community members, longtime community members of Ontology. His name is Dumont. So if anybody's ever in the Ontology channel and has any questions, I consider this person the Ontology encyclopedia, because he is well versed. And I'm actually going to read what he sent to me, because I think it's really important to those that may want to explore this topic a little bit further. His response to why this mechanism, or the APYs, are so high, his response is, it is a dynamic value which compose of factors such as the total amount of ONT that is being staked, the nodes distribution ratio, as well as the real-time market price of ONT and ONG. So basically, the lower the ratio between ONT and ONG, the higher the APY. So based on this response, and based on what we talked about earlier, the dual token system, we can see that having two tokens and having two different market influences, if you will, to these two tokens allows for the rewards to be very rewarding, and highly attractive to anybody who's interested in staking.
Actually, I didn't know this information yet. Thank you so much for that. I think we can add all of this information to our articles about Ontology. So you can go to our website, guarda.com, and we have Academy, and we have a blog. So probably you can be interested in that. And well, I'll ask you a tricky question. So I just want to remind everybody that you can just join our Twitter, and you can join our Telegram and Reddit. And just don't forget about Ontology. So here it is, the Discord and Twitter. So the tricky one. That's a question.
Before we move on, I just wanted to also add something in terms of the staking, because I think it's important.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so the one thing that I want to say is, Ontology is comprised of, or at least the staking and delegation node ecosystem is comprised of a variety of different operators. My personal opinion, and this is as head of community, I'm really interested in community and community engagement and community development, and that is both educational and technical. Anybody who's interested in staking their ONT on Ontology, I would ask them to do their research, check out who these different node operators are, and support the Ontology blockchain by supporting those nodes that are actually furthering the ecosystem of Ontology, either through education, community moderation, or technical development. And so going back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of Dumont being the Ontology encyclopedia, there are various community members that are running their own nodes. So just by visiting the Ontology Discord or Telegram, you can discover who these people are and support them, because they are a big part of what makes up Ontology. And without support for them, it's very difficult to grow that ecosystem.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So coming back to the tricky one, are you ready for that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the question about revenue model from Annie, our user, he left a comment on Twitter, and for a platform to survive and run the project or company, revenue model plays an important role. What is Ontology's way to generate revenue for the platform, and what is the income model?
So I think I might have mentioned this before, but in terms of like financials, Similar to token price, that's just not something that I'm prepared to answer. Firstly, because that's not my role, so I don't know what the answer to that is. But secondly, I don't think that many organizations would comment on their revenue models. But
So true.
you know,
True, yeah.
if someone is really curious to learn, and if Ontology is open to sharing that, anyone from the team that is aware of it, they're welcome to jump onto the Telegram and share that question again.
Yeah, and here am I, so I'll show the address. Yeah, okay. What about your plans and development? So there is another question about plans and development from our user. How is Ontology development going? Can you describe in detail current development efforts, market expansion plans, expected applications, and when will they become commercially available?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think something that is highly relevant, because a lot of the development that's continuing to happen over on the Ontology network, or just Ontology in general. Like I said, Ontology is comprised of a variety of products, including its blockchain. And so Ontology continues to develop towards decentralized identity and data. And what that means is ONT ID and OScore, the roadmap for 2021 included basically use cases, adding more use cases for it. So I myself, together with the team, are having discussions with a variety of products and protocols that are interested in empowering their users through decentralized identity. And that is anyone from a blockchain to a DeFi protocol. So there is a lot of growth and a lot of what we're working towards, adoption towards that, to normalize it, because even the word decentralized identity, if you look it up, you're going to find very few people having that conversation. And so we are working to have those conversations, opening up channels. I myself host several discussions on Discord, the Ontology Discord, on Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces. We have an event on Friday where we're going to be talking to a builder and talking about how decentralized identity could potentially work within their ecosystem. So that's one way that we're continuing to develop and continuing to grow that technology. In terms of other products, Wing Finance is a multi-chain protocol. The roadmap for that protocol was to continue expanding onto different blockchains and continuing to bring more people to that ecosystem through its flash pools, through its under collateralized pools such as AnyPool, by growing that NFT marketplace through AnyPool.
Yeah.
And then Saga, continued development so that individuals can manage their data. And as the original vision of it was to allow individuals to monetize that data too. And probably more importantly, more exciting, because it's right around the corner, is the launch of Ontology's EVM. So as we are well aware, there is a lot of people that are on the Ethereum blockchain. And that is both in terms of its community, but also in terms of its developers. And as Ontology continues to develop these decentralized identity protocols and standards, we're looking for ways to bring or bridge the different developments that are happening across these two ecosystems. And so with EVM, the vision is to be able to make it easier for these developers on Ontology to bring their applications and take advantage of the things that are the things that Ontology, the blockchain features, such as their incredible speed and their gas efficiency, but at the same time to take advantage of this decentralized identity ecosystem that is being built within Ontology, but also to be able to take these decentralized identity products into other blockchains like Ethereum as well, and continue to develop there.
Actually, probably you didn't mention about expansion. So, and here are the questions. So from our user, probably you can comment on that. That's about Central Asia.
Well, I mean, in terms of expansion, we're talking about how these protocols wish to expand onto different protocols. So, like I mentioned already, there's the multi-chain aspects of the DeFi protocol, but also in terms of expanding decentralized identity, in general, opening up discussions to the community, and increasing their adoption into other DeFi protocols and other, into other crypto ecosystems like DAOs and NFTs as well.
And what about Central Asia and Southeast Asia? So,
well, I think Ontology has already been very active. In fact, Ontology is based out of Singapore, so there's a strong, movement there. Ontology has been recently pushing a lot more discussions and growth in the Japanese market. But in terms of some of these communities that you mentioned, Ontology has a pretty diverse community, and these communities are led by community members themselves. So there are multi-regional channels dedicated for the education of what is Ontology and the onboarding of new users to be able to participate in the governance of Ontology, but also to participate in the empowerment through decentralized identity products.
All right. Well, thank you. So we have just a couple of more questions, I think. The first question about partnerships and collaborations. So probably you have new partnerships or collaborations.
Sure. So, like I said just moments ago, Ontology is always looking for new partnerships, in particular to grow the decentralized identity ecosystem. So there are ongoing discussions with different projects to be able to integrate OntID and OScore onto their protocols. Beyond that, and starting with 2020, there's been a huge introduction of partners to the Ontology ecosystem, and that includes other blockchains like Binance Smart Chain. Ontology is the sole provider of decentralized identity systems on that blockchain. So because of that, we're also starting to find different projects on that chain that want to utilize this identity ecosystem that has been brought into the Binance Smart Chain blockchain. And one of those is Rocky. Rocky is an NFT platform for music creators. And what they use Ontology's identity systems for is to verify creators. And one thing that we've noticed, or at least has been visible recently with the explosion of NFTs, is that there's people, because crypto is pseudonymous or anonymous many times, that people pretend to be someone else in order to monetize on the creativity of someone else. And what I mean by that is someone could simply go and steal artwork and say, this artwork is mine, and I'm going to issue it as an NFT, and you're going to buy it. But in reality, they are not who they say they are. The same can be said for music. If someone takes music that someone else created and sells it, then that's a big problem, because then there are issues with intellectual property, and there are issues with trust, and there are issues with the value that asset has, because individuals bought it or collected it because they believed in the creator. They wanted to support the creator. But if the creator is unattached, then is there real value in that asset? And so Rocky did research, and then eventually partnered up with Ontology to utilize their identity ecosystem to verify these creators, to add value to these collectors when they collect these different digital assets that are being minted and issued on that platform. There's a host of other ones, micro workers, which is a way to empower individuals that are freelancing with micro payments using Onto Wallet. Daimler Mobility, like I talked about earlier, in terms of creating MVPs for how decentralized identity and data could be used in the automotive industry. Polkadot, it's a project that is picking up steam. Ontology has partnered to be able to provide decentralized identity services to that blockchain as well. So there's a ton of partnerships that have happened recently that are inspiring and really show the momentum of Ontology. But also worth mentioning is the conversations are ongoing, and the doors are always open to more partnerships to create a more robust ecosystem.
That's quite interesting, actually. You said about Polkadot, but as for me, all the coins, they are something like a computers between each other, right? But you said about partnership between Ontology and Polkadot, and that's quite interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess for me, and I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
When I hear the word there is competition between coins, I mean, I think that a lot of that competition is driven by the community of token holders, but
Hmm.
projects want to grow. And the one thing that I've been saying from the beginning is, if a project is so narrow-minded, or even a protocol, or even a community is so narrow-minded that thinks that only one will beat all, it's
Hmm.
pretty close-minded, because we got to be honest, we're so early here. There's so much
Uh,
growth, so much development left to be done. If you're closing the doors
uh-huh.
on that development, regardless of where it's happening,
Yeah.
you don't really understand the vision of what blockchain and cryptocurrencies are meant to do. And so I think we're going to see continued development in multi-chain, or cross-chain and cross-protocol as well, where, if you look at why DeFi summer even happened, it was through that interoperability and composability of different protocols that
Yeah.
allowed for people to create some very unique products that people then used to create very rewarding experiences. So, just like DeFi was able to use that interoperability and composability, the same can be said for multi chain, the same could be said for identity, because identity is a complex topic. It's not a singular thing. And so protocols and projects are looking to tackle niche elements of identity, and it is through that composability that is as a term that I like to use, which is identity Legos. Same like money Legos advanced DeFi into what it is, or what it was last year. I think identity Legos will continue to do that and mature the space into the future.
Don't you think that was the answer for the question about the correlation with Bitcoin? Because all coins can't exist without each other, So everything is just united, probably, if I can say like this.
I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's true for everyone, but I think that if you're creating a product today,
Hmm.
something that should be on your board is, how can I create synergies with the industry,
Yep.
with projects that already exist? If you're coming in,
Yep. Seems like we lost connection.
hello?
Yep.
Oh, did
Oh,
we get disconnected?
yeah. Just something like a freeze. Yeah, you can continue.
Oh, so I guess I'll just recap what I said, which basically was, if you're starting a project today, first thing you should be looking at is how you can create synergies with other products that exist today. Because if you are coming in so close-minded that your project is going to destroy everything else, it's going to be the one that, is going to be the do-all end-all, then you're limiting your success, because there's already an ecosystem that's been built, and it's only through those synergies that this ecosystem can grow. I've heard conversations of maximalists, oh, Bitcoin is the best, or Ethereum is the best, but they always complain about the maximalism behavior of someone else, but they
Yeah.
don't really look inwardly. And I think it's funny, because they are being maximalists themselves in the way they speak.
Hmm.
So I think we need to be, a bit inward looking sometimes, and see how we can improve our own behavior, our own developments. Because if someone is coming in and is wanting to learn about crypto, and they see this infighting, it doesn't really show the value of the ecosystem and how it could grow together.
Yeah. Thank you. I completely agree with you. There was a question from user, so probably that can be a final one, and that's a funny one. He asked you, how would you like people to remember Ontology? That's funny because that's an existing project, so we don't need to remember that. We just need to know.
This is not a gravestone, right?
Yeah.
But I think I understand what they're trying to ask. They're trying to ask, after this event or after they talk about it, what is the one thing that people should walk away with, right? Going, I got it. Ontology's mission, like I said from the very beginning, has been about empowering people through decentralized identity and data. So really, if I was to capture that in a very clear sense, I would say that the way that ontology should be recognized is as a project that's built for the empowerment of people.
Thank you. I think we are in the very the finish of our conversation, but still, I have another question for you. That's a final one. Just try to imagine that you can do everything, and what would you do if you had a superpower in the crypto world?
You mean knowing all the prices ahead of time?
Probably so, yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll be a bit cheesy on this. From the very beginning, to me, one of the things that spoke to me about cryptocurrency was the communities. It's no coincidence that my title is head of community. That is something that I've been doing since I was an active contributor to the blockchain, to cryptocurrency. It is bringing people together and educating them, and then giving them the tools that they need to be able to go and do the same. So if I had a superpower, it would be to be able to just expand that reach that I have today and be able to do that, but like 10x, 20x, where I can capture the attention of more people and I can help them with their own crypto journey and give them the tools, empower them so that they can then say, I am a member of this community. I want to continue pushing forward the adoption of this industry. So I'm going to take on the role of head of community somewhere else. So it is a world of people who lead community either through their own initiatives or support the growth of a project similar to what I'm doing in terms of helping with the education and the growth and the adoption of what Ontology is building.
Yeah, I think knowledge is power, right? Yeah. Thank you so much. That was really great interview. That was my pleasure just having you here. That was Humpty Calderon, Ontology head of community. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.